Welcome to Overcoming Marital Disconnections. I am Apostle Delmelodia Tipton. I want to encourage you, if you have not indulged in the last teaching session, make sure you go back and indulge in that session. This is a continuation. This is session 2, dealing with marriage and pornography. A lot of you don't understand how the enemy works through the spirit of lust, works through the image of pornography to destroy your marriage. A lot of you are in agreement, husband and wife, with pornography, bringing it into your safe space. What you're doing is inviting demons into your safe space, the safety of your marriage, the safety net of your trust, the safety net of your security with each other, the safety net. The enemy has no boundaries, no rules. He come to kill, he come to steal, he comes to destroy, and he will do that by all means necessary. He don't care how long you have been married. He don't care how much you really love your spouse. The word of God tells us, do not give the enemy a foothold. If you give Satan a foothold, be sure he is going to come in the whole door and take control of the whole arena, of the whole area of your whole marriage. And what I mean by that is he will destroy the sacredity and the sanctity of your marriage garden. He doesn't care about your marriage. He doesn't care about your problems. He doesn't care about if your marriage survive or if your marriage overcome issues. The adversary of our soul wants to destroy your marriage, and one way he does it is through pornography. A lot of individuals see no problem with pornography until it becomes a problem. You can't play on the enemy's grounds safely thinking you're not going to be attacked. I want to share something with you. And this is an email, and I have several emails. I'm not going to mention names, but I want to share this with you because in sharing this, I want you to see pornography plays a part in marriages where it brings in images of the opposite sex, the same sex, or men and women, groupies, all of this stuff comes together. And what that does, because the enemy uses these images to draw and sketch them in your mind, of the one that is participating, to sketch them in your mind. This is to pull you, this is to lure you, this is to draw you, this is to get you addicted and attached to what to this taste, the taste of sex, the taste of porn, the taste of lewdness, the taste of being sexually aroused and excited without having to put effort. See, when one participate in pornography, you're not having to put effort in it, because this is, number one, is fake, and then this is something that is done through the spirit of the Antichrist, through the spirit of lust, through the spirit of lewdness, through uncleanliness, through impurity. So this is done through that spirit, that host, that unclean spirit. The enemy will use pornography, get one to indulge and entice, and in a matter of time, this would bring or causes its host, whoever that is, the husband or the wife, to be disconnected emotionally and disconnected physically in the marriage room, in the marriage bed. This is something that many marriages are experiencing in the sex life, where there is no intimacy between the husband and wife, that where there is no desire for intimacy between the husband and wife after being married for years. All of a sudden the intimacy is gone. Well, why is the intimacy gone? Because of the addiction, the indulging, and the betrayal of how the spirit of lust, how the spirit of lewdness, how the spirit of seduction can cause this disconnection in the marriage. Remember, marriage is spiritual. So even though one is not physically being penetrated through pornography, there is still a penetration. There is still uh, indulging in it spiritually and physically. And I'm going to show you that in a few minutes. Been married, this individual, I'm not going to announce her name, been married 37 years. I lost interest in sex. Totally. She says she lost interest in sex. Totally. Been married 37 years. Don't tell me about my duties. She know the duties of the spouse, know their duties. So she don't want to hear about the duties. Should a person married or not feel obligated to have sex? If I never have it again, it would be soon. It would be too soon. She says, if I never have sex again, it will be too soon. Now, I'm not going to dwell on that part. What I want to address here is, first of all, these individuals, they've been married 37 years. And this person say they lost interest in sex totally. See, this did not just come up all of a sudden. See, we have to be careful in our marriage. This is why sensitive communication is very, very key. Resolving conflict is very, very key in our marriage. Being emotionally connected to your spouse is very, very important. When we lose emotional disconnect, when there is emotional disconnection, and when there is unresolved issues, when there are unresolved issues, when there is outside entertainment into one of the spouses or both spouses, these are things that the enemy will come in and bring a lack of interest toward that spouse. Pornography brings a whole lot that you don't see when you're engaging. Pornography brings a whole lot that you do not see how it can affect one's marriage and how it can affect one's sexual appetite for their spouse. Now, let me go to the next one. My husband and I haven't had sex for over 3 years. This is a different individual. I don't know why he doesn't want to have sex. What could be the reason we haven't had sex in so long? Listen, husband and wives, there are many, many things that can come up in a marriage. Now, this individual said they haven't had sex in 3 years, and she says that she don't know why he doesn't want to have sex. Men, even if there are sexual issues going on with you physically, you can see a doctor. They can help you with that. Women, even if there are sexual issues going on with you, especially when one is going through menopause, or one or husband or wife that have health issues that have caused them to have a different feel or they can't participate or act or just insecure about things when it comes to having sexual intercourse or that desire to be intimate physically with their spouse. There are things that you, husband, you, wife, must sit down and discuss, but there has to be sensitive and open communication in order to resolve and get to the root cause of the problem. Sex for over 3 years and you married, that's not good. For the word of God tells us that the husband body belongs to the wife and the wife body belongs to the husband. So we shouldn't be withholding sex from our spouse. We shouldn't be withholding intimacy from our spouse. Withholding intimacy can open up doors that lead to other things outside of the marriage. Now, I'm not going to read into why they haven't had sex in 3 years, but things can happen in the course of a marriage. What's been going on in the marriage? And a lot of times we have to sit back and analyze our marriage to see where our marriage is at and locate your marriage where it is in order to make it better. And it takes two, husband and wife. You got to come together and you have to talk. You have to come together and you have to communicate. It doesn't matter who, it shouldn't matter who does not want to communicate, or I don't want to communicate, or these different emotional and these different feelings that we have about how one express themselves during communication. You have to find common ground in order to bring your thoughts, in order to bring your feelings, in order to bring what's on your mind to the table. You are one, working on oneness. And in order to work on oneness, you have to come together. I'm going to read the next one. My wife is 62 years old and she is not interested in sex. What shall I do? The next one says, I am in a sexless marriage. I am in a sexless marriage. That means they ain't having sex. For the past 4 years, no intercourse whatsoever. However, we are both greatly compatible. We both seem to have slipped into a platonic love for each other. I am very sexual, and my husband doesn't seem to think of this as a big problem. What should I do? In this situation, the wife saying that she is very sexual and the husband is not. What should she do? The next one, this is the last one I'm going to read. I am a 50-year-old married lady of 35 years, 54, been married 35 years. My husband likes sex every day. Is it normal to want sex every day at his age of 55 years old? Well, on that one, that's a good thing. Been married 35 years and he still have interest and pleasure, and you are the apple of his eye. That's a blessing to be wanted by the wife and wanted by the husband, with no outside interaction and no outside interference. Again, the word of God says that the husband body belongs to the wife and the wife body belongs to the husband. So her body is to bring pleasure to him and his body is to bring pleasure to her. It's the same with our marriage. It's very important that we engage and not withhold sex from our spouse. Now, the word of God do tell the church when there is a time to pull away that you and your spouse come to an agreement that for fasting, consecration, prayer, that you come together on one accord. That means you got to communicate. Wife, you just can't go on a fast without communicating with your husband. Now, yes, these things have happened, but they are out of order because that's not what the word of God says. We have to consult with the spouse. Husbands, you have to consult with your wife. Everybody has to be on one accord and in agreement when it comes to sustaining from sexual intercourse with the spouse. This is to keep the spirit of confusion out of the marriage. Also, the word of God tells us that once we are off the fast, to quickly return back to sexual activity. This is to rule out and close the door on any temptation and on any confusion that Satan would bring into the marriage. Any open doors, you don't want those doors open. This is why communication is very, very, very important. Now I want to go back up to the one that says she's been married 37 years and have lost interest in sex. No, not that one. I want to go back to the one that says my husband and I haven't had sex for over 3 years now. Um, a lot of times people lose interest in sex, and it can be for different reasons. But on this session today, we're actually speaking and targeting marriage and pornography. And a lot of times in marriage, sex can be the appetite for your spouse can be taken away. It can be stripped because one has given themselves over to pornography. They have given themselves and opened themselves up to the excitement that brings, to the stimulation that brings them, and it brings a closed door or a wall toward the spouse. There, in other words, sometimes there may be no attraction there because that person has opened up themselves to something else outside of the marriage. This again deals with the heart because the word of God, Jesus, Yahshua, he takes it up higher, the platform up higher when it comes to infidelity. He says, so as a man thinketh in his heart, when he has conceived lust in his heart and willingly after an individual by lusting after them, that he has already committed adultery. And this is in the book of Matthew. So when he talks about the heart, this is the act hadn't even been committed. It comes from the heart. So whatever is planted in the heart, whatever is sown in the heart, whatever is initiated from the heart, is already done. So if lust is in the heart through watching pornography, where we know that the spirit of lust breathe and birth of the spirit, it entices, it grows, it gives more yearning and more desire and a craving to participate in these ungodly desires and these ungodly acts. So this causes one to shut down with their spouse. And this is not the will of God. Now, if you haven't gotten your book, order your book. The Two Shall Be One Flesh Mystery, the Marriage Covenant. I'm going to read to you, and this deals with chapter for masturbation, but I want to deal with this right here because again, we're dealing with pornography. Before I do that, let me do this. We're dealing with pornography, and we know that paraphernalia deals with sexual immorality. That's fornication, that's having sex outside of marriage, but that's also sex, having sex or spiritual adultery or adultery, meaning bringing defilement into the bedroom. The origin of the word pornography reveals a great deal about the influence through the ages. The Bible deals with this from ages. It's not nothing new. It's not, the word of God tells us it's not nothing new under the sun. So pornography is not anything new. It comes from the Greek word pornographos and simply means the writing of prostitutes. It describes prostitutes and their trade. That mean the selling of the body. That mean the giving of the body for, or the exchange, pleasure for the exchange of money. But later came to refer to the writings and pictures intended to arouse sexual desire. That's what pornography means, because you're dealing with images. You're dealing with the imagination. You're dealing with the thoughts. You're dealing with the mind. So again, this refers to the writings and pictures intended to arouse sexual desire. So the writings and the pictures, this deals with pornography, whether it's through a television, magazine, whatever electronic outlet may be, internet, whatever it may be, whatever outlet one is using or have used, the purpose of pornography is to arouse sexual desire. So if there is sexual desire being aroused and it's not with your spouse, Jesus has already said it's adultery, it's infidelity, it's unfaithfulness, because you're giving yourself over to another and it's not your spouse. You're indulging in uncleanliness. You're indulging in sexual activity. You are indulging in and participating in sexual activity with someone or somebody's, and is not with your spouse. This also can be linked up to the spirit of perversion, because when you're dealing with pornography, when one is entertaining pornography, there are multiple individuals, whether it's multiple women's or multiple men's, or men and women, women and women, men and men, all in the same set. You're dealing with perversion. People, you have to be mindful that this is a spirit. The entertainment that you watch with your eyes, that paints a picture in your thoughts, that paints a picture to your imagination, that gives you an image. This is perversion. And this spirit has a tendency and has the power, because you're on its territory and you have opened up your members to uncleanliness. You have opened up your members to porno. You have opened up your members, your eyes, your mouth, your hands, your body. You have opened up your hands, your body, your everything about your body. You have opened up your members to impurity. The spirit of impurity is impure, is ungodly, and is not of God. This brings detrimental and mental anguish, frustration, depression. All of this can come through this door. Many don't see this, but many manifest and walk in this, walk in depression, walking in up under stress, worry, because of these doors that are unclean that you have brought into your marriage. Secrets begin to appear, not being transparent with your spouse. All of these things are manifested through the door of pornography. All of this comes through the door of lust, unfaithfulness, not being honest, no transparency, not attracted to the spouse, a lack of intimacy with the spouse, or no intimacy with the spouse. As the young lady said, they hadn't had sex over 3 years. Why? You married and you ain't had sex in 3 months. You married, you ain't had sex in 3 weeks. Why? If there is sickness and issues of that sort, that's understandable. Where it affects your members, that's understandable. But even through this door of pornography, it robs you of your intimacy with your spouse. The word intimacy, write it down, look at it, and break it down. You are not into your spouse. Your spouse, or you are not into me. Intimacy. So when you're not into your spouse, or your spouse is not into you, this brings suspicion into the marriage. Now there's other problems along with the suspicion, because number one, you're not having sex. You're not having intercourse. Pornography has opened doors, and these spirits have crept in unaware and manifested in your bedroom, in your marriage, in your garden, and it's killing your marriage. It's killing the communication that should be having in your marriage. It's killing the oneness of your marriage. This is what this spirit does. This is what the door of pornography does to a marriage that is trying or desiring not to be divorced, not to separate, not to go separate ways. So you have to close that door to pornography. You have to close, and you have to deal with the spirit of lust. Sometimes this can bring on one needing to be delivered, demons cast out. This also can mean that one may need to see a counselor or a therapist. Both spouses would be wise for both spouses to go, but if only one went, then you go, whichever one that is. If the one that is participating does not go, and the one that is not participating decide to go, then you go. If the one that is participating decides to go and the other one don't go, you go. The whole idea is to bring healing and soundness to your mind. Remember, the enemy comes to kill, steal, and to destroy. And when there is no sex in the marriage, sexless marriage is not the will of God. That's the working of Satan. That's the working to destroy your marriage. It's torture to be in a marriage, physically able, mentally able, and you're not sexually active with your spouse, with your significant other. You're under the same roof. You're living in the same house. What are you doing? What is the purpose? It's time to stop playing games. Get real. Be delivered. Be set free. And see things for what they are. Porn is not a friend of your marriage. Porn is not a friend of your marriage. It is an enemy to your marriage. It is an enemy to you. It is an enemy to your marriage. Lewdness is bitter and poisonous. This deals with pornography. You're talking about arousing sexual desire that is out of control.